Beautiful people, I'm so glad for you to be here with me today as we talk about meaning and money and job and especially community and especially how you spend your time. So this video we're going to go in depth on choosing a job, choosing a career, thinking about how to spend your time from a new perspective, different perspective. So if that sounds interesting to you, then welcome in fam, much love, Trav here. Welcome in Woo fam, much love, Trav here. So glad to have you here with me today. So we're going to imagine that your money and your time is separated and you can spend your time however you want to. So this is a fantasy of many people. For many people, this is success, to have time freedom. But what's interesting is when you think about what you would actually do with that time, and maybe something that of how to reallocate that time, and maybe something that is not that far. I mean, maybe only one or two moves away from doing this. You may not have to get rich. Okay, so to illustrate this, I'm going to share my own story and tell you about how gaining time freedom didn't necessarily change as much for me as I expected. So there's a shortcut to doing what you want to do beyond, you don't necessarily need to get rich or have some sort of thing. So for instance, there's been 2 times in my life, especially long periods, where my money has been separated from my time. And if this isn't you, that's okay. I don't expect this to you, but I'm just doing this to say, hey, I've been up here. If you want to get up here, I've been here, and I can tell you what it's really like and how things change, and that you don't necessarily need to get up here to experience the changes. So 2 times money and time has been really separated in my life. The first time was after school when I entered the workforce and I was streaming and doing content and doing videos, and I was working in pro gaming. And I wasn't balling, I wasn't making a killing, but I was making good enough money. I was making decent money in 10 hours a week, 10 hours of work a week. So I had all this time that I could spend, And then I'm in a second period of this now where we talk about the investing in the Bitcoin and so on, where my investments right now are today's value of the investments and today's value of my yearly expenses. I have like 12 years that I could work and live off of. I wouldn't have to spend money. I don't have to work if I don't want to. But I learned from the past experience about why I might want to work. So this may surprise you and this may interest you. Okay, so if you're here and you're with me, it's hot. Let's get into it. Okay, so what I discovered in these periods is that work has a purpose of a lot more than money. It's for community, for fun, just something to do, something to spend your time. So when I had this sort of life experience and I didn't work, it was very boring. It wasn't good. It was isolating. I was stagnating socially. And because everybody else works, and even the high value rich people, they work too. So I stumbled along for a long time in my early 20s. I would hang out with some of my friends, like worked odd hours. They worked in the service industry and they could hang out in the week. I'd hang out with college people. I would play a lot of sports, play a lot of basketball. And it was okay. It was sort of weird. But the more time that went on, the more I was bored, the more I was lonely, the more I was separated from the rest of society. And there's definitely positives that allowed me to learn this and to realize this. And what I'm trying to share with you is not to flex on you and say you need this, you don't need this. You can just skip to doing the work that you want to do. And this is where we're getting to. So I started thinking like, man, I want to get back to work. Like, I want to get back to work. This is boring, right? This is good money, but the life is weird. Just something's missing. So that's when I went into farming, and then I went into full-time farming, and I went into agriculture, and I work with sheep, and I work with kids, and I do farmers market, and my life improved quite a bit. Although most of this time that I've been working, it's not been primarily for the money. I haven't really needed the money, especially when I started. It wasn't a good financial decision, but it was a good time decision. So what I'm telling you is you could just skip to the job that you want. Because say you got all the money that you wanted and then you quit your job, you're going to be bored and you're going to want to go back to work eventually, and that work's going to pay you. So why not just skip to that work that pays you and skip the dreaming and the, right? And it doesn't need to be farming or agriculture. I'm just using that for an example. So I'm in the second period of my life now where, wow, investing's gone great. My money is swollen and it's allowing new opportunities. But from my previous experience, I know that if I just don't work, I'm going to be very bored and unhappy. And it's allowing me to make changes in my life and change my work. Like I moved off the farm, I'm going part-time here, I'm starting to go part-time somewhere else, I'm dabbling in other businesses, but I'm still working just as much or more. The nature of the work has changed and the schedule of the work has changed, but it is work, and it's work that I could have made these changes without the money, basically. So yeah, money's going to change things and it's going to open your time, but you're probably going to want to reallocate your time to doing something, working on something, and you could just jump from this to that. Like, so I'm telling you to really think about, what's your dream job? What do you want to do? What do you want to do with your time? What do you want to do with your life? How do you want to structure your mornings? How do you want to schedule your days? Go for that, do that. You don't need to be wealthy to do that, and you can be wealthy and not have that, and you'll be unhappy and you'll be lonely. So, and the data backs this up, that people tend to be happy when they work. People tend to be less happy when they don't work. So there's different ways to interpret that data. You know, maybe ideally it's you work 30 hours and not 40 hours or 50 hours or 60 hours. Some people are happier. Some of the data suggests Americans are happier when they work more than 40 hours. But the thing is, like, when people work 0 hours, it sucks. It's not fun. It's not. Here's the thing though, is like, work doesn't necessarily need to be defined as clocking in, clocking out though, because if you're a woman and you're raising the children, that can be very enriching. I would count that as work, even though if you're not getting paid by an employer to do that, right? So, I mean, work can take on many different forms, and it can take on different there'd be different ideas about it. So, let's look at these breadfruits over here. My eye was just drawn to this thing. What is that? This is breadfruit ulu. Yeah, so I just want to inspire you and motivate you and say that if you were chasing wealth, that you're correct. I think that it can really change things for you, but it's possible that the time equation is more valuable and more important. And that's something that you can skip right to. You don't need to do the money thing necessarily, because the work's going to pay you anyways. If it pays you a living wage or better, then, you know, that's good enough, honestly. Or at least, yeah, I mean, I really believe that loving the way you spend your time and just making enough is better than not liking your days, not liking how you spend your time, but having a lot of money. Ideally, you have both things. That's what I'm aiming for personally, and getting more in that, and that's also what I recommend for you. But if you had to choose one, just time. So today, evaluate how can you better spend your time. Like, what's your dream job? How do you start making moves towards that? And it's not just about the money. When I'm talking dream job, I'm talking like dream time. It could be a lot of different things. Dream place, what's your dream office? Work towards that, try to make that happen. You can make it happen, I believe in you. Sound good? I believe in you, okay? Comment down below. How do you really want to spend your time? And how can you make it pay? How can you make it pay you? What would you do if you had all the time in the world? You might travel, but you're gonna get bored, I promise you. After a while, you're gonna want to get back to work. So what's that work gonna be? You travel everywhere you want, you have all the money you need, you're bored, all your friends are at work. Life's empty, life's meaningless, especially as a man. Like, you need something to do, right? Some purpose, some mission. It's about meaning, right? Comment down below, how do you want to spend your time? Those of you who are lost and need help, I do coaching. There's a link to that down below. I am accepting new clients. I have time to take on a couple people, so if that's you and you want help and you want to work with me one-on-one, you want some motivation, inspiration, analytics, strategy in your life, then let's get it. So appreciate you, much love, and look forward to talking to you soon. Peace, and don't forget, smash the like button.